Hi, my name is Rahul Bhausar. I'm the Cloud Director for Ingram Micro in the Middle East, Turkey and Africa. Today I want to talk about the chatbot services and AI services which you can go and offer to your customers. So if you're a Microsoft reseller selling Office 365 for quite some time, and then you build a good amount of customers who are using Office 365, now what next? You can go back to them. We have spoken about backup services. We have spoken about security. You can go and sell it to the customers. Today I want to talk about something which is called chatbot service, which you will be surprised that it is not going to cost a lot of money to you as well as the customer, but it can add a lot of value to the customers and a lot of stickiness to that. So the chatbot service which I'm going to talk about today is the Azure Chatbot Services, which is part of the Azure Platform Services. And the way you want to sell this is, let me start talking about the fact that how and what it requires for you to actually sell this, build this, and take it to the customer. If you are a normal reseller with basic technical skills of migration, implementation kind of skills, I can bet you can actually do the chatbot services from Azure to an Office 365 customer. So what it would take for a reseller partner to start building up this portfolio and where he can go and position this to your customers. So let's talk about the sales part first. For you to go and position this to a customer, as long as your customer is 100 employee and above, this service can fit in without any problems in the following departments. You can go and approach a HR department, you can go and approach a marketing, a sales department, and a customer support department of any organization who is using Office 365. What exactly it can help, how a chatbot can help and modify this industry and this department. Chatbot is the way you want to position to your customers is chatbot is like a human robot which can answer any specific questions of either an internal customer or an external customer. What does it mean is if it is an HR department, you're going and talking about chatbot, the customers to an HR department is an internal employees as their customers. So if a company has 100 plus employees and they constantly keep asking about things like what is the policy of the company about leaves, claims, XYZ, all of these can be documented as a Q&A, and you can actually build a robotic bot on the Office 365 using Azure services and then launch it to the internal company, and this can become a service which an HR department is offering to their employees. If it is sales department, if you're going and talking about, you can actually launch this as a service to the customers of the company. For example, if a customer is constantly asking about certain questions and doubts about the product or services the company offers, they can document all of these into a Q&A kind of format and then launch it as a bot service on their website, for example. So all of these examples are the great examples to get started a customer with a chatbot. Now, why an Office 365 customer is a good customer to start with? The best part is the chatbot service which I'm talking about is actually offered as a chatbot service within Skype for Business, which means when you finish the service configuration of the bot is actually launched as a user on the Skype for Business, and that's exactly where it becomes very, very relevant to an Office 365 customer. Of course, you can launch it as a web chat on the website and so on, but putting it under the Office ecosystem, which is Skype for Business, makes it a big difference. So that was about pitching to the customer where he can actually make use of chatbot. Now, what will it take to build a chatbot if you are a normal reseller with no development skills, and actually it doesn't require any development skills? The components involved here are something called a QAmaker.com from Microsoft. It's a service to build this Q&A query-based, I would say, algorithm, and then put it into this service on Q&A as a question and answers, and the bot will actually learn from that particular Q&A service. So the first component is the Q&A service, the second is the Azure service by itself, and the third component is the how we want to publish it. And all of these components don't require a single piece of coding. So as long as somebody knows how to manage an Excel, you can log in into the Q&A maker, load the entire question and answers. A little bit of logic is required, of course. And once that Q&A builder is building the whole chatbot service, you just need a little bit of knowledge around how to fire up the service in Azure, the chatbot service, and suck in the entire Q&A service straight into that. And within few minutes, you can actually launch it as a chatbot service, which can go and start talking using Skype for Business, Skype, website, and any other chat, including email, which means you can actually configure an email ID of the organization where the email ID is being operated by a chatbot. So anyone who has a question can actually throw in an email to that email ID, and instantly the bot will reply to that email with the answer. We have done a prototype for all you partners here to see how it works as an Ingram team here. If you were more interested to know how we can help you to get started with this service, talk to us, number one. And then if you want to even sell to your customer and pitch it, we are more than happy to come along with you to explain this whole service to your customers. The last point I want to talk about here is the profitability. The cost to the customer is pretty minimum. Azure bot service would not fire up more than $50 a month in terms of the cost on Azure. But once this configuration is done, it might end up costing the customer about $500 a month, $500 a year. But you as a partner, by offering the entire consultation and actually building up the bot, can charge the customer a pretty good services fee, which includes the consultation and actually building up the Q&A using the Q&A maker and launching it as a service. So if you're interested to drive your profitability higher through services revenue, chatbot to all Office 365 customers is one of the key things which you can talk about and start selling it to any customer who is about 100 plus employees. Or it doesn't have to be 100 plus employees, as long as he has a customer base which he wants to address. So even company could be just 30 employees, but he is addressing a customer base of about 500 customers or 200 customers, external customers. That again is a good example of selling a chatbot service to you. So if you are interested to know more about it, contact the cloud team of Ingram Micro, and we'll be more than happy to help you get started on the cloud service, on the chat services around Office 365. Thank you.